Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating biomechanical puzzle. We're going to look closely at how different types of physical activity actually impact individuals with disabilities, and what this science behind mobility, impact, and muscle response tells us about the absolute safest ways to move. Let's just get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. When a person with a disability jumps, can their muscles actually become stiff? You know, it's not just some theoretical question, it's an everyday dilemma for disabled individuals, their families, and their caregivers. We often see the sheer joy of jumping, maybe on a trampoline or out at a playground, but then we observe this really concerning physical aftermath. So what exactly is happening beneath the surface to cause that delayed stiffness?
Section 1. Anatomy of sudden force. Think about that phrase for a second. High-impact movement utilizing sudden force. Jumping is definitely not gentle. It's an abrupt, immediate demand placed on the human body. Gravity pulls down, the ground pushes up, and bam! Sudden force. High impact. There is literally zero transition time for the body to ease into the motion. It goes from 0 to 100 in an instant. In a fraction of a split second, the body is basically forced into a biological emergency response. It has to execute 3 massive tasks, all at exactly the same time. First, it actively supports balance in midair. Second, it instantly absorbs that harsh landing pressure the exact moment the feet hit the floor. And third, it frantically protects the joints from the incoming shockwave. To pull off all 3 of these steps simultaneously, the muscles simply have no choice but to rapidly, aggressively contract. It's an intense bracing mechanism built purely for immediate survival.
Section 2. The body's rapid response.
Now, for a body that's already navigating pre-existing factors, things like muscle tightness, generalized weakness, coordination difficulties, or other conditions that affect movement, just maintaining baseline equilibrium is already a ton of hard work. The body is expending so much energy just to stay balanced and upright. So, when you throw a sudden, violent contraction into that mix, it severely overloads an already taxed system. The nervous system gets flooded with these emergency signals that it just can't process smoothly, making the rapid muscle contraction of a jump incredibly risky.
And the direct biomechanical result of all that? The muscles react by drastically increasing tension and locking up afterward. It is a very clear cause and effect loop. The sudden impact hits, the rapid contraction fires to protect the body, and because of those pre-existing factors we just talked about, the muscles simply cannot easily release that emergency tension. The nervous system essentially gets stuck in a braced state. The muscles lock up, they become rigid. It's the very act of jumping that directly triggers this lasting physical stiffness.
This is why some caregivers or family members advise to stop jumping. Listen, if you're a caregiver who's had to step in, maybe at a trampoline park or a backyard party, and make that really tough call, your instinct is completely validated by the science. It's not you being overly cautious or unnecessarily restrictive. You're witnessing the adverse effects of sudden force on an already compromised physical system, and you are absolutely right to step in and protect them from that biomechanical overload.
Section 3. The power of walking. Now, what's really interesting here is that we aren't just taking an activity away. We're pivoting to a scientifically sound solution.
Walking provides a controlled, gradual movement with vastly less impact on the body. Instead of an explosive shock to the system, walking gives us this steady, rolling rhythm. It trains the muscles safely and smoothly, entirely avoiding the jarring nature of those high-impact forces that trigger the nervous system overload we just discussed.
Honestly, walking is kind of like the unsung multivitamin of movement. While jumping might be the flashy energy drink, walking does the real sustained work. It naturally trains balance, it hones coordination, it improves posture, builds endurance, and crucially, develops profound muscle control. And the absolute best part? It does all of this gradually. It slowly, steadily teaches the body how to navigate space and build true strength without the physical trauma of sudden force.
Section 4. Harmony in the nervous system. Internally, walking allows the nervous system and the muscles to work together in a smoother, highly repetitive pattern, and this creates a literal scientific harmony within the body. You see, instead of the chaotic, frantic emergency signaling required to just survive the impact of a jump, walking sends clear, predictable, repetitive signals. This beautifully coordinated pattern dramatically reduces unnecessary strain. It gives the brain and the muscles the time they need to communicate effectively, which supports a much safer and healthier development of overall mobility. And this brilliantly illustrates the core of our explainer when we put these two movements head to head. The contrast is just stark. Jumping demands sudden force and rapid contraction, which, as we've seen, ultimately increases stiffness.
Walking, on the other hand, relies on controlled movement and low impact, which gradually improves muscle control over time. It makes it entirely clear why jumping creates so much tension for disabled individuals, while deliberate walking practice actively helps improve movement smoothly, safely, and sustainably.
So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want you to consider this. Are smooth, repetitive patterns the true key to unlocking safer movement development? When we take the time to really understand the biomechanics behind sudden force versus gradual control, we are completely empowered to make intelligent choices that genuinely support healthier, happier mobility. Thank you so much for joining me for this focused deep dive. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.